So if you look at this question, you mentioned 2021 November paper. Um, so let us do what needs to be done. It says here f of x is log 4x. It's log 4x, right? Oh, why does it look so blush here? So bad. Like, oh my God. It is bad. So this is a 4. Then we have an x here. And then, so anyways, a log graph is what you call, is basically related to an exponential graph. It kind of behaves locally almost the same way. You know, this one has an asymptote here, as we can see. But then that's just like additional information that's almost unnecessary, right? They say this is the equation of the graph. B is k coordinate 2. The first question, as you said, you got k as 16. And I'm assuming all you did was you threw in the y value there where f of x is. Then you solve for x. Of which doing
Yes.
that would have looked like this. So rearranging this, we know this is a base, this is an exponent. So base
Yes.
exponent, x will be on its own, x, nothing crazy. With this question now, for 2 marks also, this one is referring specifically to like the y values of the graph. You see, it's referring to the y values of the graph. Because you see, remember, anytime your graph, anytime an equation mentions f of x, or anytime an expression mentions f of x, it's just a matter of using the y values.
Right.
You get, yeah. So, in our case here, right, we have to just understand what the question is actually asking us to do. This
It's
question,
asking.
yeah, it's
Can I can
asking
I just
us,
can I just
yeah,
pause you there?
yeah,
If I see a question like this, I'm already thinking about range.
low key,
This is
yes.
the range.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's not the range, but it's talking about a space between -1 and 2. So this is asking where
Okay.
are the y values between -1 and 2. You see. So meaning in your image, you need to find out where is -1. -1 is going to be like somewhere maybe down here. You see. And then
Right.
+2, we can see it's clearly up here somewhere. You see. This is where +2 is. You see. So you can see that this is the space here between -1 and 2. You see. So they're saying this space between -1 and 2, it's asking you for which, determine the values of x for which this graph is between -1 and 2. So if you're looking at it, we can see that the graph is between -1 and 2 here. You see, this is the space in between -1 and 2. So all we need is this specific x value and this specific x value. This one we already have, it's a 16. You see, we just need this x value here. So we need to find what x value we have here when the graph has a y value of -1. We need to find the x value here where the graph has a y value of -1. Because here we
Wait,
already know,
please just skip back a bit.
yeah,
Why are we finding okay, the graph is between +2 and -1.
yep.
Well, what do the x values have to do with this if they're asking for the y?
No, they have given us which y values we should look at. And then they're
Right?
asking which x values is that happening. Because if you look at the question, determine the values of x. See, that's
Oh,
the
yeah,
question.
yeah,
The
yeah.
question wants the values of x, where
Mhm.
the y values are between -1 and 2. So what we did was we first said, okay, where would -1 be? Somewhere down there. Where is +2? Somewhere up there. So
Mhm.
we want to see, okay, when the graph is between this space, we highlight right
Mhm.
here in green. You see. So we want
Mhm.
the x values where the graph is between these two y values, of which those x
Mhm.
values, it's that you look at the x-axis. You see,
Mhm.
that's where the x-axis now comes. And we're just looking at the x-axis now. And we're saying, okay, fine, along the x-axis, this green line, we're seeing it starting from somewhere, wherever this is, where
Mhm.
we don't know the x value, but we know that this is starting at whatever this x value is, the y value we know is -1. At this
Mhm.
point, we don't know what the we know what the x value is, it's 16, and we also know what the y value is, it's 2. Because remember, the question gave us the y values, -1 and +2. You see, they're asking where's the graph between -1 and +2. You see, which x values will your graph be between -1 and 2? So you just need those two coordinates. You know, the one coordinate where the graph has a y value of 2, and then the one coordinate where the graph has a y value of -1. So this is where the graph has a y value of +2. This is where the graph has a y value of -1. So you just need to see what these x values are. You need to find out these two x values. This one we have already, it's a 16. This one we don't have, we have to find it.
Right.
Yeah. So this is where the equation of the graph comes in, because in the equation of the graph, we just need to find out where is the x value, where is the y value equal to -1. So in the equation of f of x, right, f of x is equal to log 4x. Where y is, we're putting a -1 there. And then we said this structure is giving us a base and an exponent. So it's a base to the power of an exponent, and then you have x there. See, so when you're looking at it like this, you can see this is just a quarter,
Right.
which makes sense because this x value here, yeah, it does look like it's close to 0. So this being a quarter, that's definitely believable. See, quarter. So now we can say, okay, fine, the graph is equal or bigger than -1, starting from a quarter, and it is smaller or equal to 2, ending at 16. So between
16, right?
Yeah, between a quarter and 16, that's the portion of the graph where it's between -1 and 2.
Right.
Yeah. So you see the question, it's just dealing with two coordinates. You're dealing with the coordinate where this y value is happening. You're dealing with the coordinate where this y value is like happening. And then you just compare those two coordinates. You're saying, okay, fine, this is the one coordinate where the y value is a 2. This is the one coordinate where the y value is a -1. The question is asking, what are those x values where the graph is between these two y values? Now the x values where it's between those two y values is an x values from like a quarter until 16. Because anyway, between a quarter and 16, that's where your image has y values between -1 and 2. It's between that space there. You see it?
Yes, I do see it. I forgot I muted my.
Nice, nice.